Hello friends. I am thinking about a project coming up in my book that I've been using. I'll just do a quick flip through. I've been using this book as a little just play journal, really. It's just a play journal for me to practice. These are all napkins that I've used. Some of them from my napkin bundles that I sell on my website. And this one's gorgeous. I love that one. I've been just playing and using these, like you can see here, I've been playing too with top coats. And on every single one of these pages is a different top coat. And on this one, I made the mistake of brushing on to a watercolor. I forgot that I had used watercolor on this, and you can see it all got smeared. It was stunning before I smeared my project. But this is my practice journal where I'm just playing and practicing, creating projects, testing out product. So here we go. On these two pages, I'm just going to prep them. You guys, we're going to start out by prepping them. I have a plan for both sides. And I think I want this side to be book page looking. So I'm going to come in, let's see. I definitely need to cover this one up because I was using this with as a backdrop for my blending tool to distress some things. So let's see. I have some sweet scrapbook paper here, reds and blacks and whites. And I have my kids holding this red, black, and white sign from their school. And these pictures, I printed them out just to practice with them for projects. And I just figured, why not use them up? So I'm going to put them on one side, and I have this transfer that I'm going to do on the other side. So I need to prep both pages to accept kind of what we're going to do here. And I think I want this side to be white. And I think I want this side to be black. So whatever I do, I definitely need to cover this up. So I'm going to come in with some white gesso and just get this page kind of prepped and primed for, whoa, that's probably way too much. Prepped and primed for doing some work on them. So I'm just using this acrylic gesso from Daler Rowney. I got it at Walmart, you guys. You can get all sorts of different gessos in terms of brand name from all over the place. They come in so many different places, and I kind of wouldn't mind if these book pages show through a little bit, but I want this to be whitened out. Gesso primes your pages, primes your canvas, primes your surface for accepting paints and markers and whatever else you want to throw at your pages, right? Or your canvas. So that's why I need to get these primed. This is just an old Reader's Digest book. I have way too much. I probably shouldn't be putting that back in there. I probably shouldn't, because it's icky now with book page stuff on it. If it's contaminated, I definitely don't want to put it back into my jar. So maybe what I'll do is just use this up on both of these pages because I took too much. Okay, so gesso comes in 3 different colors that I know of. It comes in black, white, and transparent or clear. Right now I have, for these 2 pages, I have the black and the white. I'm going to stick my craft mat in between these 2 pages so I don't get this lower page wet with this. Oh, you guys, I'm kind of in a rush. My book pages are curling up a little because of the moisture, but you know what? This is a practice book, and I don't mind that so much in here. I've been practicing techniques, practicing products, trying to figure out what works well together, what doesn't. So I don't mind that at all, to be honest with you. I am going to grab more. Let's just, since we already have this half white, let's get it done with white. I think the faster you move, the less warping that you're going to get and bubbling. You know, if you just don't let it sit there with the wetness on it for a while, it'll be fine. And I do every once in a while tear out a few pages out of this book because the book pages get thicker. I'm gluing together 3 or 4 book pages at a time so that when I'm working on those pages, they're not super, super paper thin. They're 3 papers thin or thick, as you would say. So these pages here are actually, this is 3 pages glued together. So it gives it a little more thickness than, say, this. So you can see it's a lot stiffer and thicker, and it's a great way. I found it's a really good way to prime these pages for doing all kinds of embellishments. Like I have these little pockets here on here that I put on. This is all done with marker. So depending on what you want to do with it, the thickness I think really helps to get your pages primed. So what I usually do is I'll take some glue and I glue 2 pages together, and then another page on top of that, at least 3 thick, sometimes 4, just depends. And then every once in a while, I've been tearing out a few pages so that, and I'll use these on another project, but what it does is it's giving me a little more room for any of the embellishments that I add into the book. So anyway, that's the first part of this. We needed to get these with some little gesso. We're going to let these dry, and I'll be back with you soon. Okay, I'm back for part 2, you guys. Let me get the light on here. I had to interrupt this program to go pick up my child from school. Yeah, so anyway, here we go. So I actually ended up getting 2 coats of gesso. I did the first one with you on video, and then off video. After that dried, I decided to put 1 more coat. So you can still see the words. However, it is brighter now with 2 coats of white gesso here. And remember, I said I have all these papers. I can't decide. I can't really, honestly, I was thinking this was black, but now that it's next to this black top, I think this is blue. Anyway, blue and red. And I was planning on using these little pictures of my kids, but then when I cut them out, they're much too small. So I have this other photo of my boys. And even though I think this is blue, and his shirt's black and red, again, Firebirds, that's our school team mascot and colors. But even though it's those colors, I think this is going to work fine. So I have this photo of my boys. It's just a regular printer paper. It's even on scrap paper. It's on scrap paper. Printer paper, picture of my boys. And I have all these great little papers to use. And I love and I'm going to use a couture transfer here on this page. So what I was thinking would be really fun is to use both of these, because I love the contrast of the stripes and the polka dots. And then the polka dots will mimic the dots all over this transfer design. So I think I'm going to use these 2. The first thing I want to do, just for scale, this is not going to fit on this page. So this definitely would need to be cut down. But I'm not even going to cut that until I get the kids mounted, the photo of the kids mounted on here. So I'm going to just grab some tacky glue, and we're going to mount the picture of the kids. My picture of the kids, it's on scrap paper. It's got this little tear here, but I have a plan for making this work. I'm going to cut it down. It's going to be more narrow so I can move it over to the right. I'm going to leave about 1 inch on both sides of it to leave enough room. Let me make sure that in the camera angle you can see everything I'm doing, which you barely can. Let me move. All right, here we go. So let's get, I'm a big fan of reusing. So when I have pieces of paper that are perfectly good and they have something printed on them that I don't need anymore, we do a lot of recycling. However, I recycle by reusing them, you know, printing things that I might want to use here in the craft room, and the other side will never be seen, so no one will know the difference. I'm going to leave a little bit of room because I have a plan for a little bit of a frame here on this. Let me move them down a little bit and then remove the excess glue. I created little tabs with this adorable red paper that has pinstripes on it. Very hard to see the pinstripes for you, I'm sure, but I used this just got this in the mail. Oh, it's so great. It's a little tab maker. I love putting tabs in my little journals that I'm making. So I thought, wouldn't this be cute to kind of frame them out that way with the tabs? I don't know. I just think it's adorable. Great way to use up the paper. Great way to cover up my little blemish on the paper that is their photo. So let's get a little bit of this tacky glue on these tabs and glue them into place. I always make sure when I'm working with tacky glue that I have some Huggies close by, because I inevitably get glue on my fingers, and that's not fun when you're trying to get your work done and you got glue all over your fingers. I also just invested recently in a little paper tweezer, because sometimes I just struggle to pick things up, especially off the table. I have no nails to speak of. So I'm going to kind of playing with how far down I want that to go. I think right about there is good. And then let's do this side. So covering up all of that square that's the photo, but coming off of the photo a little bit. I just think that's darling. I think that's so cute. I'm going to grab, now, it does help sometimes to have a little brayer around when you're using glues and papers to really flatten out your napkins, your papers, when you're using glue. So I do use my brayer every once in a while to help me with that. That one has paint all over it, but it's still okay. Now remember, this is my practice journal, my fun journal. It's my play journal, just for having fun, for the sake of having fun. I'm going to grab my paper cutter. I think it's close by. Yes. I keep rearranging things in my craft room to be more efficient, and what it does is it causes me to forget where I put things. Okay, now I'm going to cut a little bit of this off here. I'm going to go on the side of being bigger, cutting more, leaving more space here. And now I need to even this off. So I have like 1-2 rows of dots there. 1-2, if I left the 2 rows of dots there, it would be just about. I am not, you guys, I don't get real worked up about measuring a whole lot of stuff. I just don't. I do a lot of eyeballing. So like for me to measure or to guess or gauge, I need a little more glue under here. I'll use the dots because they're in a striped pattern or lined pattern. So that's easy enough, right? If I count the number of lines of dots, like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines above the picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be about right there to make it just about even. Now, listen, I know for a lot of you, that's not precise enough. So I always say, you do you. If it really, really makes you feel better, go ahead and get your ruler out and measure the distance. I have just under 1 on this side and just over 1 on that side. I'm okay with it though, the way it is. I'd rather have it be a little bit big and cut it down a little further as needed. So see, it's taking up too much of this page, because if I want to keep these stripes underneath, I'm going to have to cut this a little shorter. So let's see if we can make it work. It's going to cut quite a bit of the polka dots off, but it's okay. It's okay. We can take it off as we need. Taking off 2 more rows of dots there. Almost, just about. So we can trim down a little at a time. If you go ahead and trim too much all at once, you might regret it, because you can't go back. You can't add more in. You can always take some off. So when you're trimming, trim on the, be careful, don't over trim, because you might regret it. Okay. It's still taking up a good portion of this page. However, we might, if we glued this striped paper onto this page and just covered up our Mod Podge, we would still be able to see it all. Let's see if we can get this even a little tighter. I don't want to cut into my cute little tabs, of course. But let's go a little tighter in here. Yeah, that's about right. And I'm being very cautious and trimming just a little tiny bit at a time. Getting really close to the end of my tab here, and I don't want to cut them. There we go. That's much better. The size is much more to scale. Now for getting some stripes underneath, maybe I don't need the full sheet. Maybe I just need some of this sheet. What I'm going to do is, what if we cut this in half and we just used it as a top and bottom border? So I have 2 of these. So I have room, I have some wiggle room here. And actually, are they the same size? Yes, they're just about the same size. So if I cut 2 of these blue and white stripes, so blue, white, blue, so 2 stripes, and then I did the same here, where I take just 2 of the white, the blue stripes with the white in the middle. Then I would have 2 equal pieces of paper. I save all these strips because we might be able to use them for something else. But I'll have 2 equal striped papers. And what if I use them as like a top and bottom frame and put the kids? That's adorable. That's so stinking cute. Now I need the sizing to be appropriate for the page. So my page, 5 inches wide. So these need to be cut down to 5 inches, and then we can put that together just like that. How cute is that? So we're going to go to 5 inches and cut. Go to 5 inches and cut. Again, none of that will go to waste. I have a little box that I put all my scrap papers in, and then I end up using them to make more embellishments for my paper journal projects. Okay, now let's see. If we wedge this in and lay it down, I'm more concerned with it coming to the edge here. I don't mind if it's missing the inside edge here, but look at how fantastic that would be right there. And then we'll do the same up here with another strip, and that's going to give me a little, oh my gosh, a cute little like frame for this adorable picture of the boys. And then on the other side, we're going to do the couture design that says love you. Aw, how cute. All right, let's get this down. I'm using my finger. You can use a brayer. You can use like an old credit card or some kind of squeegee that you might have on hand to try to flatten out and make sure that that glue is evenly distributed and that you don't have a lot of bubbles. Okay, that's a couple of ways that you can do that. All right, let's do this other one. I'll make sure to really get my edges. And I kind of use the tip of the glue bottle to spread the glue a little bit. I did it more on that one than I did the first one. Okay, again, focusing on this corner first. I'm not as worried about the inside corner getting covered, because that people are less likely to notice than the outside cover being missed, or corner, excuse me. All right, got it on there. I'm going to use the brayer. If any glue oozes out, now is the time while it's wet to get it to like come out and grab it, get it off there. If anything comes of the excess comes out of there. But how stinking cute is this going to be? Oh my Lord, I love the stripes. I love, love, love it. That is stinking cute. And I kind of have an inkling, you guys, thinking about sewing a little bit around this. I might just take this to my machine real quick and put a little sewn something or other, maybe inside the tab. Oh gosh, it's cute. Just to add a little more texture here. I'm not gonna do it on camera, but I'm gonna add just a little basic sewing. You can do it by hand, but I'm gonna do it with my sewing machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I just did a little bit of sewing, straight stitch sewing on the edges of the tabs, and I just think it's so cute. We're going to snip off some of these extra strings, and I'm not worried at all about this unraveling. It's going to get glued underneath, and so I don't mind a little bit of trailing thread. Honestly, I don't, but I'm going to trim this down a little bit. Maybe have a little trailing thread here and there, and it's going to get, like I said, glued underneath here. You could even put a little piece of tape or something on the back to like reinforce that if you're really worried about that. But again, practice journal, just for fun. I'm not trying to win any awards here. I'm not trying to like have this entered into a museum for an archive. We're just having a little bit of fun here with our supplies and our leftovers. Okay, I just think that's so cute. It's so imperfect, so stinking cute. We're going to glue this down. And I think I'm going to make sure that I hit these pieces of thread with a bit of glue because I want to make sure that they stay down, right? So let's get some tacky glue, make sure we hit the corners, because you know, if you know me, you know I kind of miss my corners sometimes. So we're going to hit those corners, and then let's make sure to drag a little bit of that glue into the threads so that they stay put. So nothing's going to move, it's going to be all glued up. And then let's hit this middle section with a bit of glue. Now, you could go back, I just don't. You could go in with your finger or with a squeegee or a brush and flatten out all that glue. I don't. I just don't. I don't get worked up over stuff like that, you guys. I'm here to have some fun, not to stress about things like that. I'm just going to place my boys down here. So I wanted to make sure I could see a little bit of the white, so the blue and white stripes are really evident. Now, again, the brayer really helps for spreading. And this is when you're watching for any glue that oozes out these edges, because if you have excess glue, it's going to ooze out. And that's okay. Just make sure you grab it right away, wipe it off right away, so you don't have like a ball of glue, number one, sitting there. And so number two, that bit of glue, when you close the book, it doesn't glue this page to that page. You want to make sure you don't have any like glue bits, wet glue bits sticking out somewhere where it's not supposed to be. Oh my gosh, that's a cute page. Stinking cute. Now my plan was to do, originally, I was going to do this page black and then this white on top. But now that I'm seeing that this isn't black and red, it's blue and red, I'm kind of changing my mind and thinking maybe I need to change, just do this right on top of the paper, the chalk couture, do it right on top of the paper, and do it with either blue or red. I'm kind of thinking that's what I'm going to do, because then it would match. Okay, I had to add more glue to get this edge to stick down, and you can see I have a bunch of it there. I'm just going to wipe off the excess, just get rid of it. Okay, so now here, I think, how cute would it be? I don't know, to just put this on here, and instead of using a black background, I was going to paint it with black gesso or black paint. Gosh, that paper is so stinking cute. If I tried to do this on top of this paper, I don't think it's going to show really well because of the bold blue stripes. So this is not, if I wanted to do paper, a decorative paper, this wouldn't be the right choice. You would want to pick something that's either solid and then use a contrasting color of paste, or pick something that has very soft patterns that you're going to be able to see this transfer design over it. I think I'm just going to leave it with the plain white page, and before I actually use the transfer on it though, I will need to prep that page. This is paper. Our transfers are adhesive, so when I put this down, it's going to stick to the paper. It'll stick well. It'll stick well. You'll be able to put your paste through, but when you go to pull it up, you very well may get some tearing of paper because of the adhesive. It's like putting a sticker down and then trying to pull it up. Your paper may tear, and we don't want that. So these are incredibly sticky. I've only used this one once. It's still very, very sticky. I'm going to come in with some of the surface wax from Chalk Couture and wax this page before I go ahead and put the transfer on it and the paste. That way the it doesn't stick so strongly that I can't get it off. Okay, so I'm going to grab a shop towel. This is usually what I use to, lately, this is what I've been using to spread out my wax. So, and I just need a little bit of this. I don't need the whole thing. I need like a quarter of it to spread the wax and get the excess off. So you know me, Frugal Fanny, I'm going to cut. I'll put these aside for other projects. And then I just have this little piece is all I need. Pick up a little bit of this beautiful, soft, clear wax, and I'm going to rub it into my paper. so that when I put my transfer down, it protects the transfer from sticking too strongly. Let's get this out of the way because I don't think we need that anymore. Put the brayer away. We need that anymore. Whoops, thought I put it away. Crash, boom, bang over at the Comfy Nest. That happens a lot over here. If you've witnessed me during any of the lives that I've ever done on Facebook, where things are crash, boom, banging around me, it's just par for the course. That's just what happens. Okay. That accepted it really well. I don't need any more wax because I can feel that the whole thing is waxed, but I am going to just come through. Whoops, I need a little more glue there. Come through and wipe off any excess wax, and it does give it a little bit of a sheen. It's a wax, so it's going to give it a little bit of a glossy sheen when you do that. The more that you buff out the wax, the more shine you're going to get. It's just like any other furniture wax that you might be using. Okay, putting papers aside, I'm just scooting them over there, getting all the other stuff out of the way. This is nice and waxy now. I did this same exact thing with wax on this very first page. This is a napkin. So I painted, and then I decoupaged the napkin on. I did some stamping. Then I waxed the whole thing, this side and this side. And then I did, this is a couture transfer. All good things are wild and free. And that's how I left it. So this has a beautiful waxy feeling to it, actually. This is one of my favorite pages in the book because it feels so buttery soft. And so this, I know, is going to have that same feeling. So we're going to go ahead. I ended up, I'm going to need to put a little bit more glue under here. And then we're going to get, let me do that and then push that down so it doesn't come up anymore. Missed a corner, girls. You know me, I'm missing my corners. Okay, now let's grab a paste that's going to make sense for this project because I was going to use black background with white paste. So I'm going to put these away and grab a more appropriate color for what's going on that picture. And actually, I wonder, this one's probably too bright, but I do love that blue. This is a new paste called Shimmer Splash, and I just love that color. Although I think it's too bright for the blue that's there. So maybe a red would work well. Let me grab a red. I have two different shimmer reds that would be cool to use. Of course, I have plain red. Uh-oh, crash, boom, bang again. So these are two different shimmer reds. One is shimmer red, one is called shimmer crimson. And I think the shimmer red wins in terms of the color. I think that works out really well. Okay, so this is easy. We peel it off its backing. Now I marked the backing so when I put it back on, I know which side to put it on. You want to put it on the glossy side. Put that away. This is incredibly sticky, you guys. Incredibly sticky. All I need to do to clean it once I'm done using it is use warm water and a cloth to wipe off the excess paste or run it through the sink. I like to take them to the sink and just run lukewarm water over it until all of the paste is out. I just rub it with my fingers and then I lay them upside down on a towel to dry overnight and then put them back on the backing. They are incredibly sticky and you'll get, you know, the company will tell you between 8 and 12 uses out of each transfer before they lose their stickiness, but I have gotten more. So I think it really just depends on what surfaces you're using them on, how well you take care of them and clean them and store them, things like that. So I've gotten a lot of use out of that, these transfers. Okay, here we go. A little bit of shimmer paste coming at you. We do want to make sure that we don't have any bubbles. So you see me pressing in on the stickiness. We want to make sure that that's adhered really well and that there aren't any bubbles before we push this paste through. And I want to capture all these little dots. I think it's going to be really cute. If you haven't used couture before, I'd love to hear in the comments what you think about this, the product line. If you're just seeing it for the first time, if you are a fan, love to hear from you too. I'm a designer with the company, so you can order product through me. My Chalk site address where you can go shopping and browse and watch more videos and stuff, it's on the description of this video here on YouTube. So make sure you say hello. Let me know what you think of this, if you've ever seen it before, if you're new to it. Either way, would love to know. I love to go through the comments here on YouTube and learn who you are, where you're coming in from. Say hello to new friends and returning friends. All are welcome here. Okay, push it through. Get all of it back into the pot because we can reuse that. We don't want to throw any of it out. I'm going to cover that up. And then let's peel this off and reveal what is living underneath. Oh my goodness, isn't that cute, you guys? All right, for now, I'm going to put this back here so I can take it to the sink and clean it. But my word, I would love to know what you think about the way this turned out. Let me get it a little closer to camera. Isn't that darling? I really do love these dots and how they kind of mimic the polka dot paper over here. I got this is just a printed off of a piece of scrap paper, a picture of my kids that I've had on a bulletin board next to me in my craft room for a very long time. So I thought it would be really fun to really honor them and get them in this book. I'm going to let all of this dry. And then you certainly can top coat it. Now, the thing with the top coat that I would say with chalk couture, because the paste is erasable. It's not erasable off paper. I'll never erase it off paper because the paper is porous and it absorbs the liquid of the paste. But once the paste dries, it dries to the touch. I'll show you a little project that I have sitting here. This is on a chalkboard, which is non-porous, right? So this dries to the touch. This is paste. But when I'm ready to remove it, all I have to do is wet it. And then with a washcloth, a soft cloth, wipe it all off of there. It's really handy to use a squeegee or a board eraser that the company has for cleaning boards, but it's not necessary. It just makes it easier and faster. But this is the paste. And on non-porous surfaces, we can erase it, of course. On paper, I'm not going to erase it. But because it is a water-based product that is erasable, I don't want to go in with a paintbrush, say, in like a sealer like Mod Podge, and try to seal over this. Because if I do that, the same thing is going to happen that happened on my watercolors here. It's going to smear on you because once it gets wet, it gets reactivated and it will start to move around on you. So you want to use a spray top coat sealer for these pages because this is going to start, it's going to get reactivated and move around with any wetness. But a spray, if you spray it on top and don't move it, it's going to be fine. And then it'll be sealed. If you came in with a brush and you spread it, once it's wet, it's going to start moving on you. So beware when you're using chalk paste. Yes, you can seal it into your project, but you want to use a spray sealer to make sure that it really stays in place and the design stays beautiful. So the transfer design that I used, this is an A size transfer. These are the smallest ones. They go all the way up to 18 by 36, I believe. This one is the Love You Heart. It's a size A transfer, which is 5 by 7. And they get rather large, and there's every size in between. Oh, look, see what I did. I just smudged it. I saw something on the paper and I want to get it off. Darn it all. Practice book. This is why it's okay. It's a practice book, so it's okay. You can come in. It's wet. It's movable. You can see I smudged it. If you wanted to come in with like, sometimes I'll use a Q-tip. Sometimes it helps to come in with, and remember, I have my wax down, so that's helpful to me, but I can come in with a very small, tight, this is probably a better one, paintbrush with a little bit of water on it if you have a mistake like that. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. And just, you can move that paste around and reactivate it and then get some of it off. I won't bother you all with that right now because it would be a little time consuming, but I can re-wet that and then come in with my Q-tip and smudge off any of the excess that I don't want to, that we don't want to see this smear. Now, is it the end of the world? Heck no. It's still a cute little design, and my kids are still darling on the side of this, the other side of this page. I smudged up my dots a little bit so I can come in and clean them up if I want to, but honestly, girls, I'm not going to worry about it. Actually, we could go around and smudge more of it to make it look like I'm meant to do that. Like I could come in and sometimes I'll do that too. So let's just take my finger and closest to the heart, that's where I did it earlier. Let's just smudge them all so it looks like it's a smoky look, kind of like your smoky eyeliner. When I make mistakes, girls, I try to recover just by like, okay, how can I either work this into the whole thing, and smudge the whole thing and make it look like I meant to do that, or you can take the time to clean it up. So maybe it's a good thing that happened while you're watching the recording, because I'm so happy to share with you when I do make an error, how I might recover from it. And that, I think, is a better solution, just because it's so much faster. Still looks darling. I still have my dots. Now we have this smoky rim around it. It's totally fine. Need the dry time. We need to let this dry. You can use your now I would be a little nervous with a heat gun or a heat tool, because remember, I have wax underneath here and I don't want to melt the wax, because then you'll have a really shiny wax on going on here. So I would advise using like a hair dryer or something that's going to blow air like a fan, just to make sure that it's dry before you close your book. So what I would do is I would clip this down, get a fan, or I use my hair dryer, and on any chocolate couture stuff, I always do it on a cool setting to get that to dry. And you'll want to make sure it's dry before you close your book. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project. It's just a fun, scrappy, use up your scraps, use up your, this is an old book that I'm using as kind of like almost like a junk journal. I didn't make it, but I'm using the pages to use up scraps and use up different supplies that I have, and to play and to explore and discover new products. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask in the comments. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and take care, everybody. Bye.